today we are going to be swapping out the Hotend on our Creality Hi combo. We are going to be upgrading to the MicroSwiss FlowTech Hotend. So they've made it pretty easy. It is plug and play, which is awesome. This should definitely be a huge upgrade. I'm going to try and keep this sweet, short, and simple. So far I've already printed out my last print with Creality's Hotend, and we are going to compare it when we put this new one in, get it all calibrated, and we'll go from there. Alright, so in your box you're going to get your instructions in case you don't want to hear me talk, little nozzle chart, and of course your Hotend. Pretty simple, nothing too crazy. So you are going to need 3 tools for this. You're going to need a 1.5, 2.0, and 2.5 Allen keys. I will leave links for Amazon and eBay if you don't have these, otherwise local hardware stores should have them. First thing you are going to need to do is make sure you have no spools in, so you need to get your filament purged out. If you're doing that, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to heat up your Hotend and then retract everything. From there, if you are using a CFS like I am, you're going to want to go over the top here. There's a quick connect. You are going to push down on that circle while pulling up, and that will take off your feed tube. Next, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your printer powered off. So go behind it on the left hand side, turn it off. I usually give mine a few seconds, and then we're going to unplug it. Once we have verified that power is off, if you had to heat up your Hotend, please make sure that you let it cool back down to room temperature. And what I like to do is I like to make sure that I get everything in a place where I can work on it. So we're going to gently and slowly slide this over to the center. I'm going to take both hands, one on each side, and gently start to bring this up. Bringing it up will take a little bit of force. Just try your best to keep it somewhat even. Once I have it at a height that I like, we can begin disassembly. So we have to take off our front and our rear cover. So to remove our front cover, we have 4 2mm screws. One here, one here, one here, and one back there. Another quick note too, so since your heat bed is magnetic, it is actually nice to use as a tray. So got my screws here so we can stay organized. Of course my Allen keys. So just got the screws out, so now we should be able to pop the front off. So I take the top edges, pull them out just a little bit while I bring this forward. Sort of give it a nice little wiggle there. Go from the bottom. Shouldn't take a whole lot of force, and then you should be able to slide it straight out. There are guides on the top sides, so you shouldn't have to pull up or down too far, just nice and firmly out. Let's go with the back. The back has 2 tabs near the top. You can bend out a little bit. I try and do one side at a time, and you should be able to pull straight back. Next, we are going to be removing the extruder motor back here. So we have 3 2.5mm screws. We have one here, and one down here. It may be a little hidden by your wires. In the instructions, it does say 2 on the left side are 2. They are 2.5. Now before we pull that motor out, we also have to get off our wiring connections, and along with that we are going to take this guy off and set it down. If it is your first time taking that off, it might be on there pretty hard. Just gently move it back and forth. So our three connections that we're going to be taking off are this middle one right here, black, red, orange, and blue. We have this blue, red, blue, and black. And then last one we're going to take off from the top is this black one. So a lot of these connections do have this yellow glue on it. What you can do is you can take some sort of cutters or anything sort of sharp and just gently go on the top and scrape it or gently cut it. A lot of times it will just peel off after that. So we're gonna pop off this top one. So there is going to be a little clip right near the top. If I can get this to focus. Right near the top there, you're gonna push that back and pull up. So we have that one. We have our center one. This one you just gently wiggle back and forth as you pull it back. It does not have a lot of slack though, so don't pull too hard. Just sort of move this over to the side. There is one little clip in there that it will break away from. And then our last one up here, which is another push clip, push that in, pull it out. All right, now that we have that out, we should be able to gently rock this out. So again, you just pull it up a little and out at the same time. You may have to maneuver it a little bit, but it should be fine. All right, now we're ready to take out our actual hot end. So we have two 2.0 screws right here. The first time I took these out, they were pretty tough, so you may need to use the other end of your Allen key to get the correct torque on that to be able to get it out so you don't strip these out. We'll see if they'll sit in there. So after we do that, we have three connections that we need to unplug. So again, you may need to scrape away that glue. So we have this top one, two white wires. We have the one underneath that on the side here. And then we have this bottom one right here. Now, if you're having trouble hitting these clips because they are small, you can take one hand and push down with an Allen key or something else. But now that we have all of that taken apart, we should be able to just pull this out. Try and be very gentle. I'm going almost straight down with it. Now, if you have the factory zip tie here, you're going to need to cut that as well. Alright, so that was the end of our disassembly. Now, what I would do, first things first, once you get this out of the box, is compare it to your old one. Just make sure everything still looks the same. So you're going to have your connector right there. You're going to have your other connector right here. Now, yes, the plugs may be different color. Just make sure that they are still the same style. I'm going to bend this gently up and out of the way because we have to transfer our fan over. So let's make sure you have enough room on there, and then we can take our fan apart with our last Allen key, which is a 1.5. So we have 4 screws right on the top here. Alright, so now we're going to transfer it directly over, same orientation, just to make sure that our plug is going to end up in the same spot. Now on mine here, you can see that this one's up a little bit. So it does get fairly hard. It might just be the Loctite on here. So if you need to, pick it up, get it good into view to where you can see exactly what you're doing, and just try and feel for it, because again, these are small. Very easy to strip them out. And they do not need to be super tight. Probably does not help that I still have stuff on that, but now that that is done, we should be good to go. So we are going to reinstall now. So we're going to orient it the correct way. And we are going to put this back in. So we're going to go from underneath at a little bit of an angle, and just very gently, I'm feeling around to where it is wanting to slide up into it. There we go. Just keep an eye on your connectors. You may need to push it back a little bit. Okay, so after a minute of messing around with it, I did just realize that this one has a lot shorter of a base right here. So the new one does not need to go that far in. So once you get it down and against the back, it will just sit up there. It will look a little bit different, so no need to worry about that. Once you do actually get that in though, you can look over again, and we will tighten our two 2mm Allen key screws. Now you don't want to tighten these too tight right away. We want to make sure that they're both nice and even, that the bolt holes line up. That one's snugged. And that one's snugged. Alright. So now that we got that done, we can go ahead, plug our connections back in. So we'll go from the bottom here. So this one with the two copper ends exposed, we're gonna really make sure that they're not gonna touch each other, and we're gonna gently bend and twist so we can get to our plug correctly. Which actually would probably help if I went to the correct connector, which is at the top here. Alright, there we go. So your locking end is going to be at the bottom, and then we're going to take our last connection here, lock that one in. Just make sure it's fully seated. There we go. Alright. So again, with this first one here, just make sure it's separated, not making contact on itself, and then we're gonna just be careful when we put the cover on. We shouldn't need to put a zip tie on. If you want to, you're more than welcome. It's not gonna hurt anything. So again, just go over your connections real quick, make sure they are all locked in. We're good to go. Now we can put our extruder back in. So we're gonna orient it the right way. At this time too, if you want, you can take this apart, clean it out. I had to clean mine out a couple times now because of how much it's jammed. So let's go and get this back in. So from the back side, actually let me give you guys a better view here. Alright, so we're going to put this on the back end here. So one thing to look out for is this arm right here. You may need to push it in, get it out, because it might be in the way. Then we're gonna bring it up just a little bit to get it over the nozzle, and then it should sit right down. It should be all the way up against. So let's make sure and you shouldn't be able to slide it back. You can also look on the front side here and see where your arm is at. Alright, or your shaft, I guess. And again, I'm just gonna like rock it a little just to make sure that it's in place. If you're able to, you can also look on the sides at your bolt holes. But once you actually get it in there, you can then go ahead and start putting your bolts back in. So we have our 3 2.5 mil. The one on the right hand side is a little bit tricky. I'll get these started at least. Does not need to all be tightened yet. So it may look a little confusing, but over this arm there are 2 holes. So I wasted a bunch of time trying to put it in that bottom one there. It's actually this one right here. So we're gonna go over, and again it's that top one, not that one. Make sure it's in there so it doesn't drop out on you. And now we can tighten all these up. And again, all these really do not need to be crazy tight. They are smaller hardware. Just get it to where it's nice and snug. It's not like there's a whole lot of force on here anyways. If you're able to, also try and keep the head assembly from moving back and forth with your other hand. Usually helps when you're not filming. Alright, now that we got that secure, we're going to go ahead with our connections. So we have our first one right here. Now that we got that one in, we'll go ahead and get our top right. And then our last one right up top here, we're going to make sure that we put it back through this little slot. Nice little click there. Alright, and again, doesn't really hurt to just go through everything, make sure everything is nice, plug back in, everything's clipped in, we're not missing anything. And go ahead, put our little sight knob back on. Now we can go ahead and put on our covers. Alright, let's see what we're dealing with. So it's pushing on. That might be touching there, so I'm gonna just sort of bend this gently out of the way here. Okay. Just sort of directing where I want these to go. Okay, now we're gonna try again. So I'm gonna swing this over. Got it in the grooves here. Oh, I should probably put this on. Alright. Alright, there we go. Now we are lined up. You should be able to clearly see the bolt hole. I'm going to keep these loose until I get the back ones in. Alright, now again we're going to go from the side here, one side in, pull the other side in. Alright, see if these line up. So far, so good. one might need a little bit of, there it goes. All right, just heard that snap in. All right, now that all 4 are in, I'm gonna go around one more time and just give them just a little bit more of a tighten. These are all plastic too, of course, so you don't need to go crazy with them. And that is it. We are officially installed and upgraded. So now at this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean up here. We're gonna power back on, and we are going to try and heat up and make sure that everything is working properly. And then we will do a test print. So I'm gonna plug back in. I'm gonna power on. So now I did print MicroSwiss's logo with the old nozzle setup. So I'm going to take this plate, put it to the side. I have another plate that is the exact same. We're going to try and print this out again using the same settings, print profile, everything. Now to make it fair as well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flow calibrate this nozzle as well. If you don't know how to do that, you do that in your slicer settings on your computer. There's a bunch of tutorials online on how to do that, so I'm going to do that real quick, and then I will print out their logo and we'll see how they compare. So right out of the box, it's printing pretty well. The only thing I did do, of course, was I made sure that it was flowing right. So this is the original Creality, and this is the MicroSwiss. There's not a huge difference right off the rip, but I'm sure with a little bit of actual tuning and adjustment like I did with the Creality one, I can get a lot better, cleaner results along with a lot smoother. It's a high flow nozzle, the one that I got with mine, so should definitely be a pretty good upgrade. Just want to say thank you to MicroSwiss for giving me this opportunity to help showcase their product, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. Good luck printing.